Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. I want to share with you a card from using some of the product from Sale-a-bration. Of course, Sale-a-bration is only around until the end of this month, so you have until the 28th of February to get your orders in and earn some new product or some free product. Well, let me just move my light ring a little bit. There we go. So the product I want to share with you is actually an embossing folder on page 7 of the Sale-a-bration catalogue, which is this one down the bottom here, which is called Starstruck. Now, I'm not sure how well that's going to show up, but it looks like little stars have had, well, a little explosion. So it's a cute one, and I think it's quite versatile. At a distance, they look like little flowers. So this is the one that I'm going to be using. As I mentioned, this is an embossing folder you can earn for free with a $100 purchase. So that is Sale-a-bration, and you only have until the 28th of Feb to earn Sale-a-bration products. So I'm also going to use some product out of the mini catalogue as well. This is a ribbon in the mini catalogue, which is petal pink, and it's really pretty ribbon, and it's got some beautiful little scalloped details. So I'm using that on the card as well. Now, the final thing, very quickly, a reminder, monthly card class. This is the card class that is done from home. Okay, so you'll get the kits in the mail along with an email which has a PDF in it, which has all the written instructions and also a link for the video tutorial as well. So, and you don't for this class, you don't need to purchase any special products. You can use what you've got at home, so your basic tools, your adhesives, your ink pads, and your sentiment stamp sets. It is designed so you don't have to purchase extra products. So for this, you have for a 3-month subscription, it costs $20 per month plus $3 postage each month. And also, if you'd like to do just the 1 month subscription, just to give it a try and see if you enjoy it, it'll be $22 plus your $3 postage if you're not local to me. So you do save 10% if you purchase this as a 3-month subscription. Hi, Jody. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's get started with this card. This one is a simple design. As I mentioned, I am using the Starstruck embossing folder on it. I am using, as always, or pretty much always, I'm using Simply Said stamp set, which is from the annual catalogue, which is on about page 20, maybe 22. It's $30. It's a photopolymer stamp set. It covers all your basics that you need with your sentiments. So I'm using this stamp set again. Also, I've got here one of the circles. This is from Stylish Shapes. Inside, finished off just with some of that very simple matting. I'm going to show you how to colour in the embossed piece of cardstock. So let me grab the kit out and we'll go through what's in this kit. And this was a card that I did for the last card buffet. So this is just some of the leftover kits that I like to share with everyone and show you how to make the cards. Okay, so petal pink. It does have that sort of orange tone to it, but it's a really pretty sort of pink. And out of the pinks, it's probably the one I use the most. So 2 pieces of those measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. I have 2 pieces of the basic white, which measures 9.5 by 13.9, which are my stock standard measurements. I've got my piece of thick white for the card base, which is a half sheet of A4. I've got another piece of white which measures 7 centimetres by 9.5. I have embossed this. I'm not sure how well it's showing up, but I have embossed this ahead of time just so I didn't have to bring the big Stampin' Cut machine over. As mentioned, I've got my circle, which is from Stylish Shapes. I have a thin strip of Balmy Blue cardstock, which measures 1.5 centimetres by 9.5, and that is just to add that little bit of detail just underneath. And I've also got my petal pink ribbon, and this ribbon is called Scalloped Ribbon. Okay, so that is from the mini catalogue, and I've also got a piece of white baker's twine which measures around 25 centimetres, and that is just to use to tie the bow and cinch the ribbon in. Okay, so let's make a start. I'm going to start with the piece that I've embossed, which is this piece here. So I'm sure some of you have sponge daubers in your collection, and these are just little sponges and they sit on the tip of your finger. I've got a sponge dauber for each of the colours that I'm using, and the colours I'm using, I have got Balmy Blue, Petal Pink, Fresh Freesia, Lemon Lolly, and to this day I still call it Lolly Lemon, and I'm really struggling to get the name right, and also Soft Sea Foam. So I do have the 5 colours that I'm using. So with the little sponge dauber just on the end of your finger, pick up some of the ink and just using a little bit of a sort of a circle motion on top. I don't know, I hope that's showing up. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up. Let me add a bit more ink and see if that will work. And all this is doing, the ink on the end of the little sponge dauber, I think that shows up a bit better, it's just picking up the detail in the embossing. So I'll switch to the next colour, which we've got Fresh Freesia, and I'm going to be using all 5 colours on this. And again, it is adding your bit of colour. You might be able to see that a little bit better now. So you can see that you just get those little dots of colour. Okay, I've got the next one, which is Petal Pink. You'll just have to bear with me. This is just going to take me a couple of minutes to get this colour on. And we've got Lemon Lolly. As I mentioned, I still call this Lolly Lemon, and I get it wrong every single time. So let me see if I can move this along a little bit quicker, but it is just applying each of the colours one at a time, and then of course you're going to go back and fill in your little bit of space. It's got quite a soft finish to this card, which is really nice. You can use bolder colours, of course, and you'd get a much brighter finish to it. Okay, and then you can go back in with your other colours and fill in those little gaps. Okay, almost done. When I initially did this card, the whole front of the card was actually embossed. Okay, so I've got a couple more just to fill in. I reckon that'll do. Hi Mandy, thanks for joining us. Yeah, you've only missed just a little bit of this. Only really the first maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so that is my little bit of colouring done. So as you can see, you just get that nice colouring over those raised parts of the embossed bit. The bits that may not be showing so well are just some of those lighter colours, as in the Petal Pink. Okay, just going to get rid of my sponge daubers. And before I put my ink pad, all of my ink pads away, I am going to stamp the sentiment onto the circle. And I'm using Just a Note, and I think with this stamp set, Simply Said, I think Just a Note is probably the stamp or the sentiment I use the most. Because I think then you can add an extra sentiment on the inside, and yeah, you can just make it whatever you need it to be. Okay, so stamp my Just a Note. So very simple stamping. This is the sort of card that you could, the piece of embossed cardstock, you could swap that out for a piece of designer series paper, and you could make a whole bunch of these cards in a really short period of time. Okay, so next I have got my strip of Balmy Blue cardstock, and this measures 1.5 centimeters by 9.5. Hi Jenny, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to be sitting this blue strip underneath this piece here. And so I'm going to be using just a thin piece of double-sided tape. You could use a little bit of Tombow or something like that, whichever you would normally use for your card making. And then I'm going to leave around about a 0.5 centimetre, maybe a touch less. Make sure that's straight. Oh, I think I made that worse, if that's possible. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so that's the next step. Okay, now I'm going to be sticking these two together. I may have just a little bit that needs to be trimmed, but I'll have a better look at that once it's stuck down. So I am going to be using Stamp and Seal for this next bit. And of course, and I know you probably get tired of me saying it, just remember with Stamp and Seal, a light hand and that little tick just to break the flow of the adhesive. I'm lining this up along the top and the side edge, and that is going to sit nice and flush about there. Okay. And I do have just a little tiny bit there that I'm going to trim off. Not too much though. So. Okay, so that's that little bit to trim off there. Okay, before I stick this down onto my card front, I'm going to be putting this really pretty piece of petal pink scalloped ribbon. Okay, so this, as I showed earlier, is from the mini catalogue. Really pretty ribbon to use. Now, I'm not going to be putting any adhesive underneath the bottom section because I still need to slide my bit of baker's twine underneath to tie the bow. So I'm going to be doing just the top half, and I've got some of the thin double-sided tape, and that's going to sit around about there. So that will just help hold this ribbon in place a little bit better. Let me see if I can lift this bit of tape up without actually bringing the tape with it. Try the other end. Okay, that's worked. I find sometimes when I'm using the double-sided tape to stick ribbon down over something that's embossed, the bit of tape doesn't necessarily always want to stick there. Okay. So tucking the pieces of ribbon to the back and holding those in place with some sticky tape. Okay. Before I tie my piece of baker's twine, I'm going to be putting my sentiment on using some dimensionals. So I do have, of course, as always, the minis, and I am using the Take Your Pick tool. Let me see that. So I'm going to be putting 2 pieces of dimensional either side of the sentiment. I'm avoiding in the middle because I want my sentiment to sit nice and flat over that ribbon. So stabbing into the back of the dimensionals and onto the card front. Okay. So far so good. As I mentioned, this design is a fairly simple one. You could use multiple products with it. You can use a stamp set, you can use designer series paper, so there's lots that you can do. Now, sometimes I do struggle to get my thread underneath, so just grab a pair of tweezers so you can grab them and slide it under. I decided a while ago that I was going to use tweezers for that sort of thing because some days I just really struggle to get that little piece of baker's twine underneath, underneath the ribbon. So with that, did slide the baker's twine underneath. I'm now tying this in a bow, same sort of tie that you would do on your shoelaces. And that cinches that ribbon in really quite nicely. And I'm just going to trim up those edges just a little bit. And it's just a really nice, pretty finish on that part of the card. Okay, so next, we're almost finished. Tonight's Facebook Live is going to be done in about another 5 minutes. I actually really love sharing these quick and easy cards with you. Obviously, if you're making this at home, you've still got your cutting out to do, so it's going to take a little bit longer than the sort of the 10 minutes to make. But you could probably have, you know, all the pieces cut out, stamped and stuck together inside 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on how quickly you work. Okay, let me just have another go at folding this because I don't think I scored it perfectly in the middle. I think that's better. Okay, we'll go with that. All right, so for the front, I have my piece of petal pink, and this one measures 10 centimeters by 14.4. And again, some of the stamp and seal and onto the card front. Hopefully I can get it on straight. I have days where I can't stick anything down straight. Okay, there's that piece. My completed piece that I did just a few moments ago, I'm going to be using Stampin' Dimensionals to put this on. And again, of course, minis. And if you have your standard size dimensionals, use those. As always, though, it doesn't matter which dimensionals you're using, please remember to cut up the edging pieces as well. You don't want to lose your product. And stabbing into those again with the Take Your Pick tool to get the little paper covers off. And one nice thing when you use the pick tool, all the little papers kind of stick together so they don't end up all over your table, end up in just little clumps. Okay, so let's go with this piece on the front, which is again stuck down fairly straight. And for my inside, I've got my second piece of petal pink, which measures 10 centimeters by 14.4, my piece of white, which measures 9.5 by 13.9. These two pieces will be stuck together and then again stamp and seal and then into the inside of the card. Okay, almost done. All right. Hi, Corrine. Thank you for joining us. I will, as always, I will post the replay for you. Yeah, so this is a nice quick one. We are actually almost done, and we're almost done inside 20 minutes, which is really awesome. Okay, there we go. I probably should have shared 2 cards with you tonight. I do have quite a few other cards, Sale-a-bration ones, so I might try and jump on later in the week and do another Facebook Live, but I'll let you know when that's going to happen, just so I can share the last of the Sale-a-bration cards that I made this week. So there is that one. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, the monthly card class, if you'd like to be involved in that, scroll down on my Facebook page and you'll find the link for that, for all of the information and to register. And of course, Sale-a-bration, which is why I'm sharing some Sale-a-bration product with you. Sale-a-bration does end on the 28th of February, and the product from Sale-a-bration I shared with you was the embossing folder, which is called Starstruck. So there is that one for you. So that's all I have. If you have any questions about these cards or any of the products, or even the monthly card class, please just remember with that 3-month subscription, $20 per month plus $3 postage per month as well. So yeah, so that's happening. Registration closes for this month on the 20th, so I've got 2 days to register for this class as well. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this nice quick card being made, and of course adding the colour using some sponge daubers and ink pads. I'm going to be back on Thursday night with a free class. For those who qualified for the free class, I do apologise. I only got the kits in the mail yesterday. I was sick all last week, so kind of knocked me out and put me a little bit behind schedule, but you should have your class kits for the free class by Thursday. So yeah, so that's it. That's all I've got. I'll see everyone Thursday for the free class Facebook Live, which I will be sharing 2 cards for that one. Actually, I lied, 3 cards. So that one will take a little bit longer. So you might want to grab a cuppa before you sit down to watch that next Facebook Live. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the night, and I will be back here on Thursday. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.